Obviously, a lot of the injustice that is coming forward is because everybody walks around anymore with a cell phone and can take video. And so, Rick, we understand you have the man with you who captured the arrest of Freddie Gray that originally triggered all of what has happened since. Is that right?
Denise, Lynn, I'm joined now by Kevin Moore, the man who shot the arrest of Freddie Gray. Kevin, we were chatting a little bit off camera. You said there's not a day or a second that goes by that you don't think about that incident.
Oh, yeah, man. It's pretty much burned in the front of my mind, man. I think about it every night, think about it every day. I wake up, I'm not going to see my friend again, you know what I mean? And it's kind of hard to deal with, but at the same time, I've always learned that it's okay to grieve, but you can't stay there for too long, you know what I mean? Because life goes on. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, he still needs justice. He still needs, these officers still need to pay with their lives, just like Freddie paid for his life.
What position do you think this city would be in if you never had a cell phone on you that day and you never shot this video?
Man, I mean, and not just me. If anyone else was out there that could have shot it, if it wasn't shot, man, it would have been swept under the rug. They probably would have wrote some bogus story about how he fell down the steps, or how he was found like that, or he must have had a rough ride in the back of the paddy wagon, which is illegal, by the way, not to strap you in your seatbelt. It's just, I don't think that as much that happens now, that the things that's happening now would not have happened had I not shot that video.
Kev, obviously the video speaks for itself, but can you take us through that day and what you saw, maybe some things that we didn't get a chance to see in the video that are really stuck with you?
Well, one of my friends come to get me out of my bed, man. I was sleeping, you know what I mean? And he came to get me out of my bed. They're tasing your friend, they're tasing your friend. So I was like, man, who are they tasing? Who are they tasing? So I get up, I put my clothes on, I run outside, but I'm on the back side first. So I see just legs and the police kind of like pinning them down. So I run around a van in front of the van to get a better angle in the middle of the street. Once I got the better angle, I saw that it was my friend Freddie. Before any of this happened, I heard the taser before I hit the corner. But by the time I got to the corner, I seen the police putting it back in his holster. But back to the story at hand, this guy, man, they had Freddie handcuffed face down to the ground. The heels of his feet were almost in his back, and the heavier officer had his knee so buried in Freddie's neck that I'm surprised that he was able to holler as much as he was hollering, man, because in the video you can hear that he was hollering for his life.
You speak of the hollering. What did it sound like in person? Does the video do it justice, or you had to be there to believe it?
You had to be there to believe it. It was something straight out of a horror movie. You know what I mean? It was surreal. It felt like I was helpless. I couldn't do anything but film this video. You know what I mean? He was screaming for air he couldn't breathe. He was screaming for medical attention, which he never received. You know what I mean? He had 3 cracked vertebrae, 80% of his spinal cord was severed, and a crushed larynx. I don't believe anybody in their right mind could possibly hurt themselves to that extent and still be alive after the broken neck. I mean, how do you crush your larynx? That's something that I don't understand at all.
And we were chatting a little bit off camera this past 10-15 minutes while I was trying to get a hold of you. People were coming up to you, grabbing you, hugging you. I just saw a couple of police officers come over to you and shake your hand. Some are calling you a hero for filming the arrest of Freddie Gray.
Man, well, you know what, man? I wouldn't consider myself a hero. God put me in the right place at the right time. You know what I mean? He made sure that someone was there to see that Freddie needed my help, you know what I mean? And that basically, man, we're not who they say we are. We are not animals. We are not thugs. We are not all drug dealers just because I have dreads or I like my clothes a little baggy. You know what I mean? It doesn't make a difference. Don't stereotype us and categorize us and then expect us not to do the same to you, because they say one bad apple spoils the bunch for us, but that's a two-way street when it comes to a police officer. One bad police officer spoils it for all of the rest of the good officers out there that's actually doing their job. And I really feel bad for Stephanie Rawlings Blake for the simple fact that if it was Sophia Blake, if it was her daughter, she would be out there, heads would be rolling, she would have every angle, every camera, every police would be under investigation, and it would not have taken 2 or 3 weeks for her to get an answer for her daughter. But since it's not her daughter, since we're not related to her, it doesn't matter. Correct me if I'm wrong. Stephanie, you're an African American, so you of all people should understand how we feel. And then you got a nerve to come up in Freddie's funeral and nod your head and think that we're there and want you there. It was so disrespectful, man.
You can certainly hear the frustration in your voice. And then just one last thing I want to ask you is where you were yesterday when you heard Marilyn Mosby come down with the announcement. For you personally, because you shot that video, you were there.
I was locked up yesterday. They locked me up. They said that I made some illegal traffic violations, which I wasn't even driving.
But when you heard the news, when you found out?
When I found out, I was on my Facebook page, and they said that Marilyn Mosby handed down the verdict that they were going to lock these guys up, and one of them was facing murder charges. But that's still not enough. Don't give the rest of these guys manslaughter. You know what I mean? Because a life was taken. If I was to take a life, if that guy was to take a life, if that guy was to take a life, we would get life in jail plus some more. You know what I mean? Everybody that was involved with Freddie Gray's death needs to have an extended period of time in jail. They don't need to get 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, which we know they'll be out in no time. You know what I mean? Give these guys exactly what they deserve, and that's life.
Well, Kevin, we appreciate you taking time to chat up with us. Thank you so much. Thank you very much. Okay.
Have a good day.
Thank you, Kevin. So you heard it there from the man himself. We haven't spoke with Kevin yet since that video surfaced of Freddie Gray being arrested a couple of weeks ago. He shot the video himself, certainly put things into perspective for us, telling us some of the things that we may have not seen in the video that he saw that day. So we appreciate him taking the time to chat with us. Lynn and Denise.
Thank you very much, Rick.